Hello, and welcome to the Yes You May live stream podcast with me, your host, Amanda May Gray. Today, we're going to talk all about leadership and how you can learn to be a good leader. Because I believe, even if you inherently are a natural born leader, that there are still skills that you can acquire and fine tune to become even better. As with anything, it takes practice. It takes time. Can you learn these skills? Absolutely. And can you practice them? Yes, you may. But you have to be aware of where you are at currently and where you're able to grow into. In my opinion, that's the first step, is understanding, where am I today? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And how can I better improve upon those? Because if you're not willing to consider it, reflect, or take action, then you're not going to move forward. You're not going to be able to, right? You're going to have to see that there is room for improvement. And quite frankly, that's one of my number one tips for being a good leader, is being willing to see that there is opportunity for growth within yourself and within others. So you see, to me, I don't think leaders have to know every single answer. That's not a good leader. In fact, when was the last time that you did something and then you shared it with somebody else and they gave you an idea that made it grow, that made it better? We're never doing everything by ourselves to the best of our own abilities. It doesn't matter if it's a business card design or if it's a grand idea to a solution to a problem that your company, your employer has, or maybe just a personal problem. When you collaborate with other people, their different perspective gets to come into view and help grow yours beyond you. So to me, a key component is understanding and being humble enough to see you don't know everything. And that, quite frankly, being a good leader, it's not about you. Just like in communication and in presentation skills, when you're working with others, it's not about you personally. It's about working towards that greater goal and lifting other people up to go with you. I was in a meeting yesterday, a Toastmasters meeting, and one of my colleagues said, leadership is getting other people to move. And that got me thinking, because often we think leadership is standing up and telling people to do things, but getting people to get that momentum going, to start on that project, and then continue on and complete it in a timely manner, I think that's really true leadership. Another key component is being willing to do the work yourself. You should never ask somebody to do something that you know nothing about or you would never do yourself. It doesn't come across well, and frankly, we can all see right through it. I am sure you can think of a time when somebody has done that, asked you to do something, and you're like, yeah, well, you wouldn't do it yourself. People know. When I got hired as a district manager for a Dunkin' Donuts chain of 12 stores, I know, random, back in the day. Fun fact, bet you didn't know about Amanda. I used to work at Dunkin' Donuts as a district manager. But I got hired into that position, into the leadership position. So I'd run teams before, sales teams, yada, yada. Doesn't matter. The first thing I had to do when I got hired on was actually work behind the line. Actually make the coffees, make the bagels, pull the donuts. And let me tell you what, that is hard freaking work, okay? Imagine, and maybe you've been in this situation where you're making coffee for yourself and your partner and your in-laws. That is stressful, is it not? Now times that by like 10 with all the orders coming in. It's early morning. You don't know everybody. You don't know what's going on. People are giving you all sorts of different orders and attitudes. They're not fully awake. It's a hard job. But if I was going to lead a team of stores to increase their sales, increase their customer service, increase their ability to perform in a happy work environment, I had to know and understand what that work environment was. That didn't mean I had to memorize every single drink concoction or every single different type of sandwich. It meant I had to be willing to have a base understanding of the work that needed to be done. Be willing and open to let other people that were below me teach me how to do things and look for the solutions, even when I didn't know them right away. Being willing to admit and say, I'm not really sure on that, but I'm going to find out for you. People follow people they like. If people don't like you, they're not going to follow you. You have to be approachable and humble. You have to show them that you're human. It's not about being all buttoned up and having the best outfit and the most expensive suit. It's not about that at all. It's about being relatable, being human, showing that you're not perfect, but that you're willing to put in the hard work and figure things out. That is key. Now, not to say that feeling good about the way that you look won't help you, because it will. Because self-confidence is huge with leadership. How can anybody follow you and be confident following you if you're not confident in yourself? So if that means you got to go and spend a little money, maybe at an outlet store at the sale rack on clearance, buying some really nice clothing that make you feel good about yourself, doing your hair, doing your makeup, showing up with your best foot forward, that's okay. And it does make a difference, because when you feel like you look good, you exude that confidence and you show up in the best possible light. You have to be confident in yourself and say, I can do this. I can move forward. I can learn. Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to admit you don't know everything? That's one of the keys. You see, being a good leader is somebody who can stand up, lead the way, yes, but also understand that there's more than one path. Understand they don't have all those answers. People follow people they like and that they trust. But they also follow people who don't always take the popular route. They follow people who make the hard decisions, the right decisions, who take the right action even when it's not the popular one. When it's easier to sit back and do nothing and hang out on your phones, but stuff has got to get done. People follow the assertive people who say, okay, it's time to work now. Let's do X, Y, Z. Who have a plan in place and an understanding of how to execute that plan. So if you can be more confident in yourself and understand at the same time that you don't have all the answers, and show that to your employees, show that to your team, and ask them for their help, it'll make a big difference. You don't know everything, and that's okay. Nobody expects you to. And frankly, you're the only one who's worried that you look bad. You're the only one who's worried about your hair being slightly off, or, maybe a blemish, or maybe that you tripped. You're the only one who's worried about all that. Everybody else is Well, they're worried about themselves and all of those things. And when you can understand that it's bigger than you, and that you're there to keep the needle moving, to keep pushing forward, you'll do a lot better in leadership. So some other key things to consider. You've got to stay focused, which is not always my strong suit, but you got to be able to stay focused on the task that you're leading, right? And when things get astray, to collect the ducks back in order. To be that mama duck who's like, hey, y'all, this way. Stop wandering all over the place. To be nice and friendly about it, but also be assertive. Got to be willing to do that work and open to those ideas and different solutions. You got to be confident. Be willing to collaborate. To stand up for what's right, not what's popular. Hopefully you're standing up for what's possible. I mean, if you're not, I don't know. And the last thing that I'll leave you with on this quick idea about leadership, this, I guess, an opening conversation that I would love to continue on, is that not only do you have to take action, but you have to delegate. You see, good leaders understand where their people are, understand where strengths and weaknesses can be, and can team people up together to help push them forward. To be willing to not try to do everything yourself, but to trust that other people are going to do their best. And when they have an issue, if you've been open, if you've been honest, if you showed that humility and that factor that you don't know everything, and you're not perfect, they'll be comfortable coming to you with questions. I'm sure if you think back, you can think of a boss or a leader or somebody in a higher up position that was negative, that you couldn't bring problems to because they talked down to you, or they just acted as if you should have known everything. That's not a good leader. A good leader doesn't talk down to their people. A good leader doesn't allow for an open communication so that when things aren't going quite right, the door is open and available for them to walk through and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. I don't quite understand that. Can you help me? A good leader never makes their people feel fearful, frightened, and like they can't approach them with things that need to be accomplished. When you take the lead, it's not about you, your knowledge, or your people's. It's about helping move that needle, helping find solutions, encourage collaboration, encourage questions, and work together towards that common goal. You can learn to be a good leader. It takes some practice. It takes some self-awareness, and it takes the willingness to step outside of your comfort zone and see that there are more opportunities when you work with other people and encourage them to give their best work as well. If you have any thoughts about this, if there's anybody that you think could maybe learn from this or could see some insight in it, share it out. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to have a dialogue on this conversation because there's so much more in today's environment to being a great leader than simply barking orders or doing everything by yourself. Remember, if you stand up with confidence and you're humble enough to admit, maybe I don't know everything, but I'd love to help and lead this organization along the way, then you're already off to a great start. I hope you have a beautiful day today. I hope you lead within your organizations, within your families, within your own life, and believe that you can do it because you can. If you choose to do it, if you choose to dig deep inside yourself and pull out any of those flaws that you might need to work on and choose to actually work on them. Nobody expects you to be perfect. We just expect you to be a good human. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you on the next Yes You May with me, Amanda May Gray.